We've all thought about it at some point. What if we have a doppelganger out there somewhere? Someone who looks exactly like us, shares similar mannerisms, or even has the same name. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But for two minor league baseball players, that what if turned into a reality that no one could have predicted. Not only did they look identical, but they also shared the same name. And as if that wasn't bizarre enough, their connection only deepened when they discovered a shocking twist about their true identities. But how did this mystery unfold? Well, let's start from the beginning, and believe me, it's a story you won't want to miss. It all began with the birth of Brady Feele. Well, actually, with two Brady Feels. Brady Gregory Feele was born on November 27, 1995, in Missouri. He had a pretty normal childhood and eventually went on to play college baseball in Mississippi. His life seemed unremarkable until he started making a name for himself in the minor leagues, heading to the Oakland Athletics affiliate, the Single-A Beloit Snappers. Meanwhile, halfway across the country, another Brady Feele was born. Brady Matthew Feele, born on December 27, 1990, in Maryland, also led a normal life before eventually pursuing his baseball dream. He too made his way into the minor leagues, joining the Texas Rangers AAA affiliate, the Round Rock Express. As both Bradys made their way through college and minor league baseball, their careers were blossoming. The two had no idea that they were on eerily similar paths, both working their way up in the baseball world. They didn't know the other existed, but everything about their lives seemed to mirror each other. From their teams to their playing positions, both of them were pitchers. They were practically living parallel lives in different places. They even had the same appearance, the same height, the same color hair, the same bushy beards, and the same style of glasses. People who saw them both side by side were astounded by how identical they looked. The only difference? Brady Matthew was left-handed, while Brady Gregory was right-handed. It didn't stop there. As if it wasn't enough that these two men looked the same, they had the same career, played for the same teams, and even had the same injuries. Both players suffered UCL tears in their elbows, requiring surgery, and as luck would have it, they both went to the same renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. James Andrews. Can you believe it? Two men, living across the country from each other, experiencing the same injury, needing the same surgery, and ending up at the same doctor's office? And here's where it gets even more insane. They didn't meet each other during the surgeries. Neither of them realized the other was going through the exact same procedure at the exact same time. But a small mix-up at the doctor's office was about to change everything. It all started with a simple call from the receptionist. When Brady Gregory Feele received a phone call from the office asking about his surgery, it seemed like a routine follow-up. But then came the twist. The receptionist had mistakenly called the wrong Brady Feele. The conversation went like this. "I'm sorry, sir, but when is Brady reporting for surgery? Is he getting down here tomorrow?" Brady Gregory, confused, replied, "I had my surgery 6 months ago. What are you talking about?" That's when he realized something was terribly wrong. There was another Brady Feele someone with the same name, the same injury, and the same doctor. After that, the two men learned of each other's existence in the most bizarre way possible. Now, you'd think that finding out you have an identical doppelganger, especially one who shares the same name, would be a big deal, right? But the truth is, both of the Bradys weren't too interested in the discovery at first. Sure, it was odd, but they didn't feel the need to get to know one another. After all, they'd already lived separate lives, both with the same name and very similar experiences. What more was there to explore? But the story didn't end there. It turns out the rest of the world was just as fascinated as the two men were indifferent. Fans and media began to take notice, and soon the two Bradys were receiving messages on social media. Fans were mistaking one for the other at every turn, asking for autographs and even calling them by the wrong name. People couldn't believe that two unrelated men looked so much alike. It was like the ultimate Where's Waldo game, but with baseball players. Things reached a boiling point when the two Bradys were invited for an interview with Inside Edition. When they appeared together for the first time, the crowd went wild. People couldn't get over how identical they looked. They were bombarded with questions. Are you twins? How can you look so much alike? Do you share a family connection? Even the media was captivated by this strange coincidence, and the confusion only grew as the public started to demand answers. And that's when the real twist came. The network offered to do a DNA test to figure out if they were long-lost brothers or simply two people who shared the same face and life experiences. Neither Brady thought much of it. They both assumed they weren't related, though they were curious to see what the test would show. Would you believe that the test results weren't what they expected? They were about to find out something even more shocking. But let's hold off on that for now, because the truth is about to blow your mind. The day the DNA test results arrived, the two Bradys sat nervously across from each other, knowing that the moment they had been waiting for was finally here. They were both curious, but skeptical after all. How could two men who looked so identical and shared so many uncanny similarities not be related? But as they unfolded the test results, reality took a shocking turn. Brady Gregory went first. His results came back, and sure enough, his ancestry confirmed what he had suspected, 53% German descent. He smiled, relieved that at least something about this strange journey made sense. But then Brady Matthew checked his results. As he looked at the numbers, his eyes widened in disbelief. He was also 53% German, the same as Brady Gregory. Both men sat in stunned silence. They were looking at the same ancestry result, but the question remained, how could they share such similarities without being related? Despite their matching ethnic backgrounds, the test confirmed what they had feared all along. They were not brothers. They didn't share the same family tree. They weren't even distant cousins. In fact, the only thing they shared was their name, appearance, and a series of bizarre coincidences. The two baseball players exchanged a look that spoke volumes: disappointment, confusion, and, strangely, relief. They had spent so much time wondering if they had been separated at birth or had some deeper familial connection. But in the end, the test results confirmed that they were simply two people who happened to have the same name, the same face, and the same career trajectory. It was a huge letdown, but they couldn't deny that the mystery had been solved. Even though they weren't related, the connection between them remained undeniably strong. Fans continued to confuse them at games, asking for autographs or taking pictures, only to be embarrassed when they realized they had the wrong Brady. The internet exploded with comments, theories, and discussions. People couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that two unrelated men could be so identical in every way imaginable. The media couldn't get enough of the two Bradys. Interviews flooded in from all over the country, and their story became a viral sensation. The public couldn't stop speculating. Was it just a freak accident? A cosmic coincidence? Or was there something deeper, something they had yet to uncover? Some fans even started questioning the accuracy of the DNA test, suggesting that the results were wrong or that perhaps some hidden family connection had been overlooked. As the media frenzy continued, the two Bradys tried to put the madness behind them and return to their baseball careers. However, the confusion surrounding their resemblance never quite left. Every time they stepped onto the field, cameras zoomed in, and fans eagerly waited for them to cross paths. The question was always in the air, could they really be long-lost brothers? Despite all the attention, the two men remained grounded. They both knew that no matter what the DNA test said, they had built something special through their shared experiences. They may not have been related by blood, but they had shared something deeper, a connection forged by their unusual lives and the journey they had taken together, even if unknowingly. And then, just when it seemed like the story had come to a close, a wild new theory emerged from the public. Some online sleuths started speculating that the two Bradys had actually come from different timelines, an idea fueled by the way their lives mirrored each other so perfectly. Maybe, just maybe, one of them had traveled back in time. Or maybe they had experienced some form of alternate reality. The theories ranged from wild to humorous, but the curiosity surrounding the two men never quite waned. For Brady Gregory and Brady Matthew, though, the wild speculation was just noise. They had their lives to live, their games to play, and the bond they shared was something only they truly understood. They had learned that sometimes life is stranger than fiction. But that doesn't mean it's any less meaningful. Despite the lack of a familial connection, the two Bradys remained good friends. They continued to stay in touch, sometimes even sharing advice on pitching or reminiscing about the strange journey they had been on together. They knew that even though they weren't brothers by blood, their connection was something unique, something that would always be a part of their story.